Hey, it's your girl Alexis Ambitious, back for another conversation, one that I have not been able to wait to share. Let me start by saying this isn't a rant and it's not about feelings. In this video, I am going to show you what happens when you stop asking if reparations are possible and start asking why they've never been forced to happen. You're going to learn how deeply Black labor and spending are embedded in the U.S. economy, why the government's legal power depends on voluntary participation, what actually breaks when participation is withdrawn, and why reparations aren't avoided because they're unrealistic, but because collapse has never been made the alternative. This isn't about protests, it's about leverage. And once you see the math, you can't unsee it. So, baby, I asked AI whether Black Americans are denied reparations because we let them. Because that's what I always thought. And like I said, people only treat you how you let them. People always say, do a blackout, withhold money, don't go to work, but never say what can happen. We about to see what's going to happen if we actually pull this off. So I tested the theory out and I typed in, what happens to the U.S. economy if Black labor and spending disappear for 2 to 3 weeks? What's 2 to 3 weeks going, since we ain't appreciated, what's going to happen? No protests, no statements, just numbers. What's up? What came back did not disappoint. So check it. I've always known myself that people only do what you let them, right? And if that's true on an individual level, wouldn't that same thing be true on a collective level too? And lo and behold, AI confirmed my theory. But check this out. At first, I had to halfway argue with AI, boo. I mean, literally. It actually tried to shut me down for asking that question. It started with the safe answers. This is complex. This would be disruptive. This isn't realistic. So you know me, I push back. So it's okay for Black Americans to be discriminated against collectively, systemically kept out of wealth for generations, and never given what we were more than owed? And that's when AI changed it up. It basically said if Black Americans were to do what you're saying, it wouldn't be symbolic. It would be an immediate economic interruption. It said Black Americans are so deeply embedded in the most essential systems in this country, federal agencies, healthcare, transportation, logistics, utilities, and social services. Those systems don't pause. They can't be outsourced overnight, and they can't function without human labor. AI said hospitals would feel it immediately. Supply chains would fracture within days. Public transportation would stall. Food and medicine shortages would hit major cities quick. Then it said markets wouldn't wait around emotionally. They'd react violently to uncertainty. GDP would contract sharply. Consumer spending, trillions of dollars annually, would freeze. And the myth that Black Americans are a minority presence in the economy would collapse in real time. So then I asked, okay, what would the government try to do? You know me, I want to see what's going to happen with that. And AI laid that out. First, it said they tried the Taft-Hartley Act. Declare a national emergency and order people back to work. But it also said that law was designed for union strikes, not a decentralized population-wide withdrawal. There'd be no leaders to subpoena, no central organization to find, and no real way to force compliance on millions of individuals. Then it said the government would likely escalate, declare a national emergency, expand executive powers, maybe even invoke the Defense Production Act. But here's the problem AI pointed out. Those laws control companies, not consent. You can order production. You can't command participation. States might try essential worker mandates, threaten licenses, threaten penalties. But AI said mass license revocations would destroy the very systems they're trying to protect. And courts wouldn't be able to process millions of cases at once. Even the military wouldn't fix it. They're not trained or sized to replace civilian infrastructure. And that's when AI made this clear. Every single tool the government has depends on voluntary participation. Once participation is withdrawn at scale, legal authorities lose enforcement. Executive power loses labor, and capital loses stability. That's when the math flips. Tax revenue collapses, emergency spending spikes, corporate loses compound daily. And suddenly, what was labeled too complex becomes very doable. Because governments find solutions quickly when collapse is the alternative. Then I asked something else. I asked, what if reparations actually happened? And this part is where people really don't want to listen. Baby, listen. AI said leveling the playing field would not weaken the United States. It would strengthen it. For all the haters in the back, it would strengthen it. It said economists already project that if Black Americans had full access to capital, ownership, and investment pathways, overall GDP would increase significantly. Not redistribute, increase. You get that? Because the country is currently operating below its potential. Wow. And it's doing it on purpose. By suppressing Black access to wealth, the U.S. suppresses innovation. AI explained that this country doesn't just lose money by blocking Black advancement, it loses breakthroughs, scientific discoveries that never get funded, medical innovations that never make it to trials, technologies that never leave the idea stage, companies that never get built, not because the talent's not there, but because access is blocked. The innovation gap is not about ability, it's about capital. And here's the wild part. AI said reparations, if structured as wealth building instead of consumption, and we the ones going to structure it, not them, would function as a recapitalization, not a payout. Mandatory investment into education, housing, healthcare, and Black-owned institutions would reverse decades of extraction. Money would circulate longer, health outcomes would improve, violence would decrease, life expectancy would rise, and innovation would accelerate because survival pressure would finally lift. So, to put it short, this country is literally cutting its own nose off to spite its face. Out of racism, out of capitalism, out of the need to control instead of collaborate. The United States of America is choosing stagnation over shared growth. It's choosing dominance over potential. And then AI said, the part that really mattered, baby. Listen, just check this out. Black Americans are not outside the system asking to be included. Now, baby, boo. They are inside it, holding it together. You understand that? Inside, holding it together. They are the engine, AI said. The engine. And engines don't get repaired while they're still running, do they? They just ride in this car till the wheels fall off. So no, America doesn't refuse reparations because it can't pay them. America refuses reparations because it hasn't been forced to choose between justice and collapse. And people collectively really do only do what you let them.